Hello. I have my window open and I live in the city, so there might be some background noise, but I wanted to go ahead and get on here and say hi. Hi. There's a lot of people I know going through some different things, and so I wanted just to share some of my experiences. So today the main topic is going to be about depression, because there's so much going on right now with the shift, and people are having a hard time dealing with this different type of change and perspective, and just people they know, communication breakdown in a lot of arenas. Um, so I thought it might be good to just share some of my experiences with how I dealt with when my husband made his transition, and I kind of went into my depression. I think it's good to to be honest with yourself and head into it honestly. I mean, you can't candy coat it and pretend you don't feel what you feel. And I'm not disregarding your pain at all, but give yourself some time to go ahead and, I guess, process it. And if that means, I think the best thing to do is to get enough rest, to to do your diet. You know, I didn't eat. I couldn't sleep well. I mean, I slept outside under the stars. I didn't even sleep in a bed. I went through a severe depression, which could have taken me down a really dark hole, and probably wouldn't have came out of it if I didn't process it the way I did. But I think a lot of it was source. I had a lot of help from the other realms for real. Uh, so I think when you're going through this, the main thing is to allow yourself some time to process it, meaning look at it for what it is and stay in the present moment. You can't change what happened, whatever you're dealing with, whether it's the loss of a job, the loss of a child, a loved one, a fight, a divorce, whatever has gotten you into this state of mind. But it's kind of like we were processed and programmed, I should say. We were programmed to deal with this, where we would go and just take drugs and, go ahead and just zone out on pharmaceuticals, which I don't highly suggest. But again, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to tell you how to deal with your depression at all. Do you, and do what you feel is right for you. That's the most important thing. But like I said, all I can do is share my processing of it. Just to recap, my husband died in my arms, and he wasn't sick. I had no idea what was going to happen. He just dropped dead, basically, in the middle of a conversation. So it caught me off guard, really unexpected. For him, it was the opportune way to go, just to check out, just no pain, no nothing, just take a last breath and you're gone. It's really a wonderful way to go if you're going to go and leave this world. I got tea. I didn't realize what an impact these videos are to people. When I was in California and living still in my car, I would do these videos, and then I'd go to the grocery store and get some food, and there'd be people in there that saw me, and they were like, oh, they'd be watching what I was doing, and then they'd be following me around and talking to me, and I had no idea who they were, but they just said, we just made our day. And I think a lot of them were like people that were closed in, like people that didn't have cars, mostly elderly people that don't really get outside communication, don't get to really talk to anybody too much. So this is kind of cool, you know. I think having videos for people that are sick and they're, you know, down in their, you know, in their bed, and really have no communication with the outside world, or whatever it is. So I thought, you know, this could be something I could do to help and maybe encourage. And I know Source has been wanting me to do this for a while, but I was writing my book, so I was really focused on that, and just consumed with that, and still going through still a lot of my own healing, which I think you never really finish going through your healing. I think you always end up processing something that comes up. But anyways, I wrote down here, I guess the first thing that happened, I kind of dealt with my depression for about 3 weeks and did nothing. Just slept, zoned out. Just, I wasn't in my head though. I didn't go into any kind of, you know, blaming, or it was just, my question was why, you know. It wasn't more or less anything I did or anything that he did. It was more or less why, you know, why now? Why did this happen? And trying to figure out what my next step was in life. Of course, I was always have walked really close with Source. I've always had a communication, and always was in communication somehow. You have to read my book because it'll explain a lot about what I've gone through. And so basically, I guess after about 3 weeks, I started realizing that I needed to, you know, start taking care of myself, and it was just something I just finally had to face up. I couldn't just lay there, and as much as I wanted just to lay there and dwindle into nothing, I knew there was things ahead of me, things I had to do, things that were still necessary for me to carry on. And of course, all this time I was in this massive, you know, zone of, I guess you would call depression. I was communicating with Source, so I was having this constant dialogue with it, and basically it was telling me that there were things still that needed to be done. So I started doing walks. I think walking is really important. Just start exercising a little bit. It doesn't have to be anything like the gym, even though I ended up in the gym, but I started out just walking, really being in nature, really starting to get out into, you know, under the trees, and, you know, in the fields. I went to a park, and it was huge. It had all these huge, like, walk areas, and I would just walk for miles until there was nowhere else to walk, and then I'd turn around and walk miles back, and to the point to where my legs would almost give out. But I just, in my head, I just wanted to keep walking, thinking I could just walk off this feeling. And I think another thing is your diet. Your diet's really important. I think that the first thing we do is we don't want to take care of ourselves at all. You know, we go through this guilt thing, or shame, or whatever it is, but we go through a process of, you know, what did I do wrong, or what could I have done to make it right, or, you know, we go through a guilt thing. And so in order to compensate for that guilt, we want to punish ourselves, you know, either through wrong diet or doing things that are destructive to ourselves. And all that does is just makes more of a depressed state of mind. So diet is very important. And I made a list, so I have to kind of keep going back to my list. But like foods high in serotonin are important, and you can Google that. You can go online and look online, but there's, you know, a whole list of things you can do. I don't suggest doing antidepressants, but I'm very anti-pharmaceutical. I never go to a doctor. I always try to, I mean, I have gone to a doctor, but if I'm going to try to self-heal and use either herbs or just, meditation, breathing, all that kind of stuff, because I believe our body has a built-in doctor. I believe our immune system is our doctor, and that if you just go in and tap into it, it will tell you what it needs. And so a lot of it's going to be your food and sugar, and that's a whole nother story. I could go into sugar forever, but I've weaned white sugar out of my diet for many years, but I know there's sugar in everything. There's sugar in even the like honey and fruits and that kind of thing, but it's not as bad as white sugar. White sugar is a culprit of cancer. It's a culprit of most of our diseases, but they don't tell you that. But it's in everything. I mean, one time I was at the grocery store and looking through labels. Read your labels. That's what you need to do. But I mean, sugar's in ketchup. Sugar's in green beans. I mean, canned green beans. If you read it, read to make sure it doesn't have sugar in it. It's just stupid. I don't know why. Canned corn. There's sugar in it. And so I don't know. I guess they call it a preservative, but I would rather eat organic or eat unprocessed. So always read your food labels. I have a strict rule that if I don't know what it is or I can't pronounce it, I just don't eat it, because I believe our bodies are organic. I believe that when our bodies go, it goes back to dust. It's organic matter. Everything we have is organic. So if you eat something that's not organic, it doesn't know how to process it. It doesn't know what to do with it. So it ends up going into these other parts of our body that creates disease, basically, to put it in a short story. But I mean, if you went to someone more scientific, they could probably, or medical, they could probably break it down. And I have read some theories on it, and you can read more into it online. They have a lot of good articles online about eating clean. So basically, what do I mean by eating clean? Just eat real food, and organic is preferable. If you can make sure it's certified organic. Sometimes people put labels on things that aren't organic. So just do your homework. A lot of this processing will get you out of your mindset of depression as well. Doing your homework, taking care of you, doing you, really pulls you out of the mindset of what you're depressed about. Being in the present moment is very important. Being grateful for everything that you do have, everything that is left that wasn't taken from you, your own health, your own life, what lies ahead, but also staying in the present moment. I think that was really helpful for me. Doing a pros and cons list was really good for me. Making a list of all the things that were wrong in my life, and then all the things that were good in my life. And the good always outweighs the bad list. It just does. I don't know how it does, but you can make a huge list of all the things that are wrong in your life, and then you can make a list of all the good things. And if you really keep it simplistic and really realize all the small blessings and all the small wins we have in our life, it always outweighs the bad. It's just the way it is. So making a list and being honest and being grateful. I mean, you can make a list as simple as, just the trees, that we have trees. Without trees, we have no oxygen, I mean, there's so much to be grateful for the flowers, for, the laughter of children, for so much. I go down the street and I see people that are depressed, sometimes, and then I notice there'll be someone in a wheelchair and they're full of joy, or someone that's a quadriplegic, full of so much life. And so we can really be depressed about things that it's just out of balance. We get into this mindset of how bad things are when they could always be so much worse. I said deep breathing, so deep breathing is really, really good for you too. And there are some great techniques online as well, but we breathe really shallow. We don't really breathe conscientiously. We just kind of like breathe very shallow in life in general. We never think about our breath. And our breath is prana. According to the Eastern philosophies, prana is life. It's breathing life into us. It's breathing life and releasing all the... way I do it is I breathe in the light, and I breathe out all the gray matter, and all the gray matter is all the stuff that doesn't serve me anymore. So whenever you start to get into any kind of thoughts that are starting to bring you down, just start doing some breathing in light. And you can breathe, I like to breathe it in through my crown chakra, and breathe it through my whole system. And then when I breathe out all the stuff that, my aches and pains, my negative thoughts, things that, been projected on me, just whatever it is. And so that really helps if you just start to really visualize what you're breathing in and what you're breathing out, and you'll see how much better you'll feel just through breathing. Make yourself a priority, do you, and don't feel guilty about it. Do what makes you feel better. And that's why self-pampering is so good, especially when you're going through healing. When you're going through your inner healing process, for those that are on the journey and doing their awakening journey, basically making yourself a priority and pampering yourself, going to the spa, getting massages, soaking in the bathtub, going on long walks, going fishing, smoking your cigarette. Yeah, I'm not going to say continue doing it, or I'm not advocating it. I'm just saying if it makes you feel better, do it until you feel you need to let it go. And some people will maybe feel like they need to let it go, and others will feel like they don't need to let it go, and that's right for you. It's being honest with yourself, self-healing, just like drinking. You don't want to drink yourself in oblivion, number one. And number two, alcohol really eats up your liver and can really mess you up, internally, and put you more into more of a massive depression. But sometimes a glass of wine or your beer after work, or whatever it is that you do to relieve yourself, whatever you like to drink. I used to like martinis, I used to like my vodka and tonic. That was my drink, but I just ended up not enjoying it anymore. I don't know, I guess I think I could drink it if I wanted to, and I don't think it would have fazed me anymore like it did, but I never really was much of a drinker. I did like to drink, but eventually, as I got on my journey, I just lost interest. And I think one thing is when I drink alcohol, it really dries me out, almost to the point to where in the middle of the night, I can't even swallow. I have no saliva in my system at all. That's how bad it dries me up. So if you do drink, to just, up your water, double up your water, especially because we're not just changing and shifting on the outside and consciously. Our bodies are actually shifting too. Everything is going to shift into a higher consciousness. And so you'll see your body changing. You'll see things happening to you that you'll wonder why. I've had people say they had flu symptoms and they went to the doctor and the doctor said you don't have a flu. Not saying don't go to the doctor. I'm really trying to emphasize that, but there's going to be a lot of symptoms that you're going to think that you're sick, but it's really just the shift in the environment and the shift of what's going on vibrationally and with the frequency. You will be feeling some, I went through chills and the shakes to where I thought I had the flu, and basically what really helped me, and I think I don't know if this is across the board, but it really worked for me, was upping my water. My water was my cure-all for everything. If I migraine headaches were really bad in the beginning. Really had like to the point to where I felt like I was like pulling my eyes out, and just I couldn't. And so upping my water just made it go away. It was amazing. And drink pure water if at all possible. If you live out in the country and you have a well, you're probably safe. But city waters usually are full of fluoride and all kinds of chemicals. So just, I think there's a strip at the pharmacy you can buy to check your water, or you can buy them online too, to dip into your water to see what kind of chemicals are in it, and how out of balance it is. So basically, fluoride messes with your pineal gland, and your pineal gland is your connection to source. It actually will crust it, and that's really what's happened, is we've lost complete contact with our source because our diet. It just comes down to our diet. That's why I said diet's really important to kind of focus on right now. Taking care of yourself. I think it'll make you feel much better if you just start reading up on these things. I think there's a supplement you can take online to help decrease the crust and fluoride in your system. Again, Google it. I don't have any of this down, but I did a lot of my own research, and it's maybe I should do a book on it. I don't know. I'm doing another book it's my second book right now, but yeah, check it out. I mean, there's so much information out there that it's all free, so it's good to do your own homework. Plus, it'll help you find yourself. When you're going through this healing process, things will come up. But yeah, water is really, drink it as pure as possible. And I hate the idea that we have this plastic, bottles we're dealing with. But I think there's a solution down the road here. At least we're recycling most of them, and I hope there'll be some. Well, I know there'll be some, for sure, things in the future that we'll be able to deal with a lot of our waste that is here in the world. As we're building New Earth and as we're all moving into this, it's happening, and there's so many people on board already doing stuff that is really phenomenal. People are already researching and doing some incredible things. So it's happening, and everything's going to work out. So, but basically, just drink the purest form of water you can get. And like I said, if you do like your alcohol, just double your water intake, and that will really help with the process of any kind of headache or any kind of physical ailments that you have. Water is just it's life-giving. It just flushes your system, and people say, well, I don't like to drink too much because I have to pee all the time. Well, that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to flush you out. So drink as much water as possible. And some people don't like to have to go to the bathroom all the time, but it's better than feeling sick. So I'd rather have it out of my system. And I know sometimes it's inconvenient to have to, use the restroom when you're, in the process of, being somewhere where you don't need to be doing it. But just schedule yourself accordingly. It's all in time management. So let's see. Music, of course, is a really good way to get out of. And yeah, I mean, some people, they'll put on some sad songs and it just makes them cry more. But sometimes crying is good. I'm not going to tell anybody how to go through their healing or how to go through any kind of healing, especially for depression, because it's a very personal thing, and only you know what you need to do. Some people need to cry, and sometimes crying makes you feel so much better. So it's a good idea to follow your own intuition, but sad songs sometimes will really bring it on good and hard, where you can just have a good cry. But don't forget the happy songs, because they can make you feel good too. I like the happy songs, and it's not really, I not to mask anything, but because really deep inside there's so much to be grateful for, and once you really get into, you know, your gratitude and start to realize how much there is to be grateful for, you want to dance. You want to dance before everything. You know, you want to dance in this mode of energy that's around us. And one thing you have to understand is we're moving from energetic force of linear frequency to cyclical, which is more of a spiral energy. And so dancing is really, you're really aligned with the energy of the cyclical energy when you dance, because especially free-form dancing, of course any kind of dancing can be good, but you know, free-form dancing, you know, you can just move to the energy, move to the music, and it's amazing. It's very healing. Once you tap in, just close your eyes and tap in, and don't worry if anybody's looking at you or not, you know. And you can do this in your own home if you're self-conscious, but I do it wherever I feel like doing it, because I don't care. You get to a point in your healing where you don't care. You don't really care what people think of you, because it's not really about them. It's about how you're feeling, and if you can bring joy to people, then that's a good thing. And if it's annoying, the people that you're annoying will ignore you, most likely. Drawing. I think drawing is a really good idea. I think that's the most important thing. Another thing besides listening to music is everybody has an artist in them, whether you're making money at it or not. Everybody has some form of expression they want to put out there. And I think I said this in a previous video, even if you just take colored pencils and just start scribbling or making lines, colored lines, and coloring in between them, it's really, really healing, because you're expressing something that is non-verbally you're able to express. Sometimes we can't express verbally how we feel, so sometimes drawing is a good way to be able to tap into that. So drawing is really important, and being able to draw outside the lines. So don't worry about making what anybody else is going to think. Tap into who you are within and how you're feeling, and draw according to that. And you don't have to even show anybody. It can be your own little, your own personal diary, your own personal book. Diaries are good too. Writing your thoughts out, writing out how you feel, and processing them that way sometimes really helps. People like to go to therapy, but basically you're paying money to go to therapy, and I mean, most therapists, that's their job, so they want you to come back. Not to put down therapists at all, because I think it's a good idea, but for me, I think if you find a good 5D therapist, they want you to heal. They're not looking to keep you, engaged so that they can keep processing money from you. They want you to heal. Most 5D, and there's some really good ones out there as well. People that really understand what's going on energetically. And they're not going to put you on pharmaceutical, meds, which to me is they're addictive, number one. Number two, they're a Band-Aid. They don't really get to the source of the problem. And so dealing with it head on is really important. And I know, sometimes looking at yourself and it's not always a pretty picture. Sometimes we don't want to see what we've become or who we are, and it can hurt, and so take it slow, and turn inward, and Source will be with you, because this is what it's all about. Source just wants you to return, whatever label you want to call this energy. It wants you to return back to your 0 point, to the place of vulnerability, to the place of innocence within you, to rebuild. And so that's really what rebuilding New Earth is all about, is returning to 0 point within you. And if we all do it, it'll be a better world if we all consciously do it. I know there's some out there that are going to fight this tooth and nail and don't want to do it, and they're going to be the ones that are going to be left in pain. They're going to be the ones that, aren't going to be able to keep up with the energetic frequency. And it's happening whether people like it or not. It's been called in by the masses. I mean, if you went to the wall in Jerusalem, you'd see the billions upon billions of notes stuck in the little, crevices of the wall, of just, people crying out for help, people crying for peace, people crying for this, people crying for. There's been such a deep cry in on planet Earth that it has resounded into the solar system and beyond, and Source is heard. And so this is the step to healing, so that we can, there's nowhere else to go. I mean, look at the condition of the world. Look at the condition of our government system. It's not just to point fingers. It's not to blame anybody, but we've taken this thing to the maximum, to where we've taken it to the max. There's nowhere else to go but to go within and heal and start over. And so depression will be one of the things that we'll have to deal with. Depression of this thing that we used to know so well, dying, something that we were so used to, the way of doing things. It's all dying. It's not the way it's happening anymore. We're moving into an energetic frequency of unconditional love. Unconditional love means, first of all, unconditionally loving yourself, healing and going within so you can unconditionally love yourself. And once you unconditionally love yourself, then you'll know how to love others unconditionally. And that's just the way it is. And when you start to do that, you'll get blamed that you're selfish and that you're self-centered and you're, narcissistic and everything else. But if you don't heal, how can you help anybody else? In my book, I say this, and it's a saying that's out there, that you cannot get sick enough to make someone better. So what does that mean? It means if someone's, hurting and they expect you to be there for them, and you decide to not be there for them, you decide to be there for yourself, and you decide to take care of yourself and to heal yourself, then what does that mean? It means I can sit there and try to ease someone's pain, but we're both going to drown, because I'm not healed either. And so you have to, it's like two people, swimming, one's, you both are drowning. Somebody's got to save themselves and get healthy so they can go get the other one, basically. And hopefully everybody will be able to tap within themselves to keep themselves afloat. I mean, that's what it's all about. We've been so codependent upon one another to take care of each other and to, process. And if not, we're being blamed. And there's really no one to blame but ourselves. We have to learn how to take care of ourselves. Not that we don't love each other, not that we don't want to take care of others, but you can't take care of someone if you can't even take care of yourself. So that's really the most important thing, is you get healthy. You need to get healthy and strong so you can go back out. I mean, I've been processing a lot of healing for many, many years, and I wasn't seen, I wasn't heard. I'm starting to move out into the field and starting to, offer my services and start to offer, these videos. Hopefully they'll touch somebody's life and be a source of encouragement to them. But I wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't take care of myself first. I wouldn't have been able to be able to tell you how to do it, because none of us have been here before. None of us have been through this. This is all so new, not just for a few, but for everybody. We're changing. We're all changing as a humanity, as a civilization. And so it's really important that each of us take care of ourselves, take care of our own business, stay in our own lane, you know. If you don't agree with someone, then get out of their face, you know, get out of their way. You know, don't contact them anymore, you know, just whatever. Just, and it might seem hurtful, but it's called unconditional love. You love them, but if you don't agree, you don't agree. Why put yourselves through that trying to convince each other, you know? Everybody needs to do what's best for them, and it might not be the same across the board. We're not all going to agree. How does this work? How does unconditional love work? It means we all get to be who we are. We all get to be in our own happiness without expecting someone else to get it. If they get it, great. You know, then they must be in your tribe. But if they don't get it, then that's great too. They're just different, and you can still love them unconditionally. It's a process. We haven't been taught this. Like I said, we haven't been here before. So it's new. It's a new perspective. It's a new perspective of learning how to deal with the controversial issues that we have with one another. You know, it's like we're not clones. Somebody might have a great idea, you know, but I mean, are we all supposed to? I mean, we've all been, you know, taught to walk this straight line, but it's not a straight line anymore. It's a spiral, and we all have our own, and so it's a dance. It's a dance of life, and it's beautiful, and it's perfect, and so it's really important to learn how to let go, and to love, and to not fear, and to not worry about anything, because Source is going to take care of everything. Source has taken care of everything. It's the way it was in the beginning. That's what we're going back to, 0 point. It's crazy as it sounds, but it can be done. It can be done. It's all done consciously. It's all done in our own thought process. We've been such control freaks for so long, you know. Let's see. What else do I have? To celebrate, you know. Learn how to celebrate you. Learn how to celebrate your wins, no matter how small they are, you know. Just celebrate life. Once you get to the place of counting your blessings and being grateful, and celebrate. That's the most important thing. I think that's it. Sleep, getting enough rest without guilt. That's the one thing. People are like, oh, I gotta get up, you know, because we've been on this 9 to 5 for so long. To sleep in is like unheard of. We're not supposed to do that, you know. But it's okay. It's okay to sleep in. And it's okay to take care of you. It's okay to take a day off. Everything's okay. Anyways, I hope this reaches the ones it needs to reach. I hope that you're having an amazing day. I hope it brings a smile to your face, and encourages you that life does get better. It gets better no matter how sad of something happened to you to make you feel down and out. There is life after sadness, and just don't stay in it too long, because it does have a tendency to hold on to you and to hold on and grip you. And sadness is not alignment with Source. Source doesn't see anything. Source, basically, I didn't have time to really be depressed like some people were depressed. I kind of just went into this zone because after my husband made his transition, I went back to my house and just cried, just sat on the edge of my couch and rocked and just cried so hard and talked to Source, and basically the answer I got was, it must be this way now. And I just had to agree, and I didn't understand what was before me, or what was going to happen, or how I was going to be able to get through this, but I trusted somehow I was going to get through it, and I did get through it. So, as you can hear, I'm in the city. And they like to blow their little horns. Here goes. I always just dance with it. I'm just glad they don't do it in the middle of the night anymore. They used to do it all the time. It was awful. Anyways, but they stopped doing it. I guess they realized they're like an alarm clock to the whole world. Anyways, I love you guys. I hope this I hope I hope it has helped you. Anyways, have a good day. Namaste.